Welcome back. In our last video, we saw how God called Abraham and made covenant promises to him, land, descendants, and blessing to all nations. Through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God's chosen family grew into the 12 tribes of Israel. But as we enter the book of Exodus, we find God's people in a desperate situation. They're no longer free men in the promised land. They're slaves in Egypt. Today, we're going to see how God delivers his people with a mighty hand and how he reveals himself through the law and the tabernacle. But Genesis ends with these ominous words. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. This new Pharaoh saw the Israelites, who had multiplied greatly, just as God promised, and he feared them. Exodus 2:23-24 says, Then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to God. God heard, God remembered, and God was about to act. Into this dark situation, God raised up a deliverer, Moses. Moses was born an Israelite when Pharaoh ordered Hebrew boys killed, but his mother hid him in a basket in the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter found him, adopted him, and raised him in the palace as an Egyptian prince. But he never forgot his people. After killing an Egyptian beating a slave, he fled to the wilderness of Midian. There, 40 years later, God appeared to Moses in a burning bush. He said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people. Moses asked, Who am I? And God gave him the answer, I am who I am. This is God's name, Yahweh, the self-existent God. Moses returned to Egypt and confronted Pharaoh, Let my people go. Pharaoh refused. So God unleashed 10 devastating plagues on Egypt, each one demonstrating his power over the gods of Egypt. But Pharaoh's heart remained hard, so God announced the 10th and final plague, the death of the firstborn. But God provided a way of escape. Each family was to take a lamb without blemish and sacrifice it. They were to put the blood on the doorposts of their house. When the angel of death saw the blood, he would pass over. Exodus 12:13 says, When I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be on you to destroy you. The Passover lamb is a picture of Jesus. 1 Corinthians 5:7 says, For indeed Christ, our Passover, was sacrificed for us. The Israelites left Egypt but were pursued by Pharaoh. They were trapped between the army and the Red Sea. But Moses said, Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. God divided the waters, and they walked through on dry ground. When Pharaoh's army followed, God released the waters, and the entire Egyptian army was drowned. God had delivered his people. 3 months later, they arrived at Mount Sinai. There, God called Moses up the mountain to give him the law. First, God gave the 10 Commandments, moral laws that reveal his character and his standards for holiness. These weren't given to earn salvation, but to show God's holiness and our sinfulness. Romans 3:20 says, By the law is the knowledge of sin. But the people were breaking the law at the base of the mountain, worshipping a golden calf. It shows the law can't change our hearts. Then God gave instructions for the tabernacle, his dwelling place. It had 3 parts: the outer court, the holy place, and the most holy place. In the most holy place was the Ark of the Covenant. This was where God's presence dwelled. Only the high priest could enter once a year. The system taught that sin separates us from God and blood is required for atonement. These were shadows pointing to the reality, Jesus Christ. When Jesus died, the veil in the temple was torn from top to bottom. Access to God is now available through him. The Exodus is a great act of redemption. The Passover lamb, the sacrifices, and the tabernacle all point to Jesus. Next time, we'll continue with the judges, kings, and prophets who pointed to the Messiah. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.